Ellen, welcome home. Great to have you back in Toronto.
Thank you
How's
for
it feel
having
to
me.
be home?
Amazing, always. It's this feeling of relief and like I can just settle in immediately. There's no adjusting needed. Just gotta live and enjoy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, congratulations on the success of Glow. I love this series. I mean, season 1 just blew me away, and I wanted to know before we get into a little bit of season 2, when you decided to do this show, did you have any expectations? Did you realize that this was going to be as big a hit as it's become?
I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I got into it because the role just sounded so amazing. And then as soon as I showed up on set and I was surrounded by so many women, I just felt more and more this like, it felt uncomfortable at first because I've never been in an environment with so many women. Like, that's just not a typical workplace, especially in Hollywood. And so to be in that environment at first made me feel uncomfortable because it was so new. But I mean, that all went away very quickly because we all got along so well. And it was just a show that was celebrating, each of us individually. And we were all allowed to sort of come to the table with some ideas on our characters and to talk with the creators beforehand. So we went into the show all having sort of a clear idea of who we all were and where we were going, right, and that we were all in this together.
Yeah. And, and let's just talk about that, because when you all got on set together, obviously you were all meeting, some of you were all meeting for the first time. Mm-hmm. And so I would think that you were bonding as human beings at the same time as you're bonding as characters. So what has that been like to get to know these women, work with them, and then go into season 2, and it's probably like, oh, we're all buddies now.
Well, it was an interesting way of meeting them. We started off in the wrestling ring because we had 4 weeks of wrestling training before we even started shooting the series. So the first day of meeting everybody was in this place where we were all entering into this new thing, this new world that we weren't familiar with. So we were all learning something new together. Yeah. And we went right into it. Like, I knew my co-star's crotch first before I knew their full names. That's the truth. And so once you get through that icebreaker, yeah, I mean, everything's easy from there.
Easy. Talk about easy. How has the wrestling been for you? Because I know you have a bit of a, action background a little bit. You took martial arts, but this is a little different.
It's very different. Yeah. The world of wrestling is so different. And I had, I didn't know about wrestling before. I mean, I knew what wrestling was, sure, but I didn't really know wrestling. And the thing that I love about wrestling is that it's a story-based sport. The moves are so crazy and extravagant, but if you don't have a story, there's no wrestling.
Absolutely.
And so I love that it's the two things together, and then on top of that, getting to learn the moves. It's incredible because unlike any other, I guess, martial arts that I've done or fight choreography that I've done, it's about you and an opponent. Whereas in wrestling, you're in it together as a team. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not selling a move, then you don't look like you're being strong and you're making me look like I'm really suffering,
sure,
So it's us working together as acting partners, but then adding this physical element together with it,
How much are you relating to your character, Jenny?
I relate to Jenny a lot. And I feel I have a special bond with her because she is a girl who is trying her best all the time. Yeah. And in the ring, she's playing this stereotype.
Right. Because wrestling is about stereotypes.
Wrestling is about stereotypes, yeah. And learning about that was really interesting for me. And no way would I ever play a character named Fortune Cookie if it wasn't in the world of wrestling.
Right.
There's just no way. But when I learned that the show was about dissecting that and breaking down the walls surrounding these stereotypes, I was, all in from there. Because we live in a world where there is a judgment placed on individuals. There is a stereotype. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard to break that,
yeah,
And especially as an Asian woman, growing up well, as a young girl growing up, I never got to see anybody really who looked like me on television
Yeah.
or in film. And so I feel like I am that stereotype because that's what I've always seen myself as on screen.
Sure.
But I know I'm so much more than that, and I'm not just those things, and I might not even be any of those things. And that's what we're doing on the show, is we're having these conversations, and they're hard conversations because there has to be a level of humility there, because when you're being that transparent and having these types of talks, it's easy to also feel defensive, or to feel like you're trying to be honest, but you don't want to attack somebody. So it's hard to feel open about these tough discussions.
Yeah.
But when you do have them amongst a group of women, that's where I feel like there's something really special. And it's really lovely to be amongst an ensemble where there's just such openness.
Do you think we're embracing them because we relate to them so well? Is that why it's becoming such a hit? Because people are just loving these women so much.
I think so. I feel like there is power in inclusivity and diversity. And like what I was saying earlier, we all just want to see ourselves being represented, and when we don't have that, there is this void. And so the more we can show that on screen, I feel the more we can bring people together, because we are a diverse world. That's the reality. And we should represent that on screen, and we should get into these stories. There's so many more stories that we still have yet to discover on screen. And I just think that that's just a whole other amazing world that's just waiting to be tapped into, and why not?
Yeah, absolutely. The great thing about Netflix, obviously, is even for people who haven't seen, season 1, they can dive right in and they can binge it and watch it. And now, of course, season 2. Season 2 is brilliant. It's so great. Sometimes you think you're going to watch another season, like, is it going to be as good? It's better. I mean, how was it for you shooting that? And also feeling more comfortable with the women and everything, of course, helps. But tell us a little bit what's in store for Jenny. That we don't want to give away too much, but we get to know these women a little bit more in season 2, which is so fabulous.
We do, and you see little moments with each character where they're a little bit more in themselves, and we're feeling a little more confident because we all know each other better, and we're living together now. And season 2 is about making the first season, whereas season 1 was about us coming into this whole new experience and then making a pilot. But in season 2, there are sort of different elements too, because we're all in this place where we want to make a show, but we have to be a little bit more competitive with how we approach our work, because there is that place of, well, whoever has the best moves or whoever comes to me with the best, story idea will be the one that gets to do the live show this week. And that's, and so we're all sort of fighting for our chance to be seen. Right. And that's happening in the ring, I think, outside of the ring too.
Yeah.
And it's really lovely to see a season where we're dissecting, or starting to touch on some really relevant issues that we're facing in the world, or always have been facing, but have been much more open about, sharing these things.
Yeah. Quickly, I just have to ask about Mark Maron, one of the few men. There are more men in this season, but what an amazing guy. What's it like to work with somebody like that?
I love Mark so much. It's so great. This is the one thing I will say. In the first season, he sat far away from us because I think we might have been a little bit much for him. But I must say, second season, he sits with us now.
Okay.
So I think we have brought him over to, join the female power. Like, it's all about men being included too, And I think that's another thing. It's just like, don't be afraid of women.
Absolutely.
We don't want to, it's not like women against men. It's about all of us being together, and we just, we want to be heard, and we want to have our stories told.
Yeah.
And that's what Glow is about.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy to hear that about Mark because he's such
Yeah.
a lovely man, and you're just lovely too. I'm so happy for your success. We're so
Thank
proud
you.
of you from here, us fellow Torontonians.
Yes.
And best of luck with season 2.
Thank
and
you so much.
I can't wait to talk to you for season 3.
Yeah.
All right. Start
Yes.
thinking about some good storylines
For
me.
sure.
Great
Would love
talking
that.
to you. Thank you so much.
too.